You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
Sounds like some bad movie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Moviesucktastic, where Joey yells at me regularly for nothing.
I do.
Nothing.
For
I didn't do a
nothing.
thing.
I don't know about that.
Horrible.
Anyway, all right. Welcome to episode 85 of Moviesucktastic. Joining us is a friend of the show. He's going to review BMX Bandits and RAD with us. We forced him to do it, and we welcome Christian Wallner to the show. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
He doesn't care. Just move on.
He doesn't care.
Doesn't really care how you're doing.
I was going to say first time, long time. You know, glad to be here.
So what are the Giants going to do? You know, come on.
Hey, the fucking Giants. I don't know, those fucking guys.
It's not basketball season yet. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to put a little BMX Bandits in the background here for everyone to watch. Yeah. What a terrible fucking movie that was.
Well, now, hold on. Between BMX Bandits and RAD, which one would you rather watch again?
RAD. Without
really?
question.
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
I think I'd rather
BMX
watch
Bandits
RAD.
had the production, but RAD just has the, I don't know.
Well, BMX Bandits also had a little thing I like to call dialogue.
Yes, there is that.
It did have a little, but you know what? It went with the two bumbling idiots that were trying to get these walkies back. It went fucking Three Stooges. Well, not Three Stooges, but the end to jump all the way to the end. The circus music alone that they played to end the movie. Gotta be kidding me.
Okay.
Yes, it had moments of dialogue.
Let's dial it back a moment. Let's dial it back a moment and give the actual synopsis of the film. Chris, you want to take that?
Okay, well, sure. BMX Bandits is about three... What?
He wasn't prepared for it at all. I just throw it right at him. Tell us what the film's about, Chris.
Yeah, Scott likes to do that. Especially to our guests. Hey, you just watched this movie. Do what we do.
I remember as a kid watching this movie, and I don't know, it seemed a lot cooler at the time. But
it's just an hour and a half commercial for Mongoose. That's
all
all it is.
No. Well, that's RAD. We're talking about BMX Bandits.
No. Both films are BMX movies. And both films are literally an hour and a half commercial for Mongoose.
But they don't unlike RAD, which actually mentions Mongoose and has the Mongoose people in it.
What are you talking about? The opening shot of the film shows a Mongoose handlebar for one of the BMX riders' bikes.
It's not
it's the whole screen.
And RAD is actually part of the plot.
Well, his name is Goose. One of the guys' names is Goose.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
What does that mean? I thought that was from what does that mean?
Gun?
It's all bike related. PJ,
I had a fucking Mongoose growing up. Movies like this, exactly.
Now, because tell me that, because there's that one scene where the cops are listening in, and the female cop. By the way, Australian cops, nicest cops in the world, best cops in the world. They get the kids. They've caused millions of dollars of destruction, risked people's lives. We're stole property. We're using it illegally, and the cops take him in and go, "Well, are you upset about what you did? Yeah. You promise not to do anything like that again? Yeah. Well, you can go. Go ahead. Nicest
we'll let it slide, but
they're just trying to make up for years of being criminals and rapists.
I get,
Right.
that's probably what it is. But when the female turned around, she said, "Oh, PJ, Powder Puff, that's bike talk." I'll be honest. I was like, "What?" I thought that was like a cartoon. I have no idea what does Powder Puff have to do with BMX?
Powder Puff was the girls' version of a BMX bike. There was a bike. You could buy a Powder Puff bike.
Oh, okay. I see. I'm totally in the dark. All I know about BMX bikes is that they made.
So don't tell the two guys that know that it's an hour and a half Mongoose commercial that it's not an hour and a half Mongoose commercial for BMX.
For RAD is more so because like the Mongoose bike is part of the plot. I mean, you have the names and stuff. But I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Bikes in general, different companies in general, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the title of this film is BMX Bandits.
Right.
And just that alone just throws out, okay, we're going to have bikes in the movie, and we're going to do a lot of stunts with bikes. Just near the end of the film, there's a 20-minute chase scene with a car and them on their bikes, showing all the cool tricks that they can do. Jumping off of fucking cliffs. I mean, come on. So don't say it's not a commercial for BMX for either film. Yes, RAD is more blatant, but this is 3 years prior to that. It's still pretty fucking blatant.
But in BMX
even to the point that the movie's called BMX Bandits. Even
though you have the BMX Bandits title and they're in the background, the story doesn't really involve the bikes themselves. Whereas they just happen to be a background. They're not instrumental to the plot. They could have been on skateboards.
Well, I mean, their whole thing is they want to raise money to fix their bikes.
Let me finish my point. God damn it! All I'm saying is that BMX.
There was a pause in there.
There was no such thing as a pause in there, sir. All I'm saying is that the plot to BMX Bandits is not dependent upon the Mongoose brand, whereas in RAD it is. So in RAD, it's an integral part of it. It's a Mongoose movie, where in BMX, they could have been on skateboards. It would have been the exact same film. But you do bring up one good point. I do remember sitting watching the film, and like 45 minutes, 50 minutes into it, I'm like, you know what? There's no BMXing in this movie. They're running through graveyards. They're stealing walkie-talkies. They're being interrogated. There's not enough BMXing. Then when they start the BMXing, 20 minutes later, it's like, I've had enough BMXing. Can we stop with the BMXing?
Yeah, literally anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes of just a car chase after these kids on their BMX bikes.
But we stepped on Chris's toes. Chris, what's the synopsis to the film?
Well, the two hero characters, I guess you'd say, PJ and Goose, have damaged their bikes, and then they need money to repair them. So, and then I don't know how many minutes in, Nicole Kidman shows up in her first role ever, and she loses her job, she can't afford to buy a bike, so now all three of them need bikes. And then they stumble across some villains who stashed a bunch of walkie-talkies from America. They're special.
Right. And the talkies, the talkies, it's a one-way talkie. Cops can hear them, but they can talk to each other, but cops can't hear what they're talking about.
Yeah, they can, because they spend half the
movie. Oh, no. Which one? How did they explain it?
The bad guys can hear the cops.
The bad guys can hear the cops,
but only after they have to be fixed. That was the movie.
So they go out on a pier, or they take the boat out and they
clamming.
What?
Clamming.
Right. Well, that's irrelevant.
In order to make money,
it's not irrelevant.
In order to make money, they have to sell seafood. Three kids, yes.
But instead, they turn to a life of crime and steal some property they find hanging off a dock.
And they take those, and it happens to be the walkies, which they then try to sell throughout town, which they do successfully more than once. But the guys that are going to pick up the talkies are in this gang that are about to do this big job, and they need the talkies. So hilarity ensues of these two bumbling idiots trying to go after these three kids and get their talkies back, so they can get this big job done. And that's pretty much it.
Yes.
Two guys chasing after three kids with some dialogue in between.
They tried to throw a little bit of romance in there, but it didn't really stick.
Too young. What are they, 15?
Hey.
Too
young. Too old.
Too young. I mean, Nicole Kidman did this in 1983, and then her first American release. Oh, what the fuck was it? It was that boat movie.
Dead Calm.
Dead Calm. I think that was
Sam
her first.
Neill.
Yeah, and what the fuck?
I think Billy Zane.
Billy Zane, yeah.
Zane and
Billy Zane.
Neil and
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill. And
Yeah.
that was in 88 or 89, just a mere 5 or 6 years after this film. So,
Who's your favorite biker?
I don't know. I kind of liked
I like
Goose,
Nicole
to be honest.
Kidman. Come on. I'm going Nicole Kidman.
See, now that's a
I don't
tricky
care if
thing
she can ride a
because-
bike or not, personally. I don't give a fuck.
Well, anytime you do the tricks, you think you're looking at Nicole Kidman and you're not. You're looking at a stunt. But when you're a kid, you're like, hey, look at Nicole Kidman in those tight pants. And then you realize, uh-oh, it's
not
a guy.
Nicole Kidman. Yeah. How right you are.
I dig her natural, like, pre-Hollywood hair. Just like
yes.
fucking Yahoo serious all the way. Just shooting right out there.
Yeah. Holy
I was going to
balls.
say the plot revolved around putting bubbles in beer, but that would have probably been too esoteric.
Oh my.
Now we would have got it.
Nobody.
Awesome.
Nobody.
And call me
anyone
silly, but
in the
the
podcast.
actor that I'm sorry, Joy, I talked over you. What?
No. I was just elaborating that no one other than everyone in the podcast right now would have got it.
I'm sure they would. Young Einstein was a very popular film when it came out. Unless you,
Maybe. I don't know about that.
it was popular enough to get Yahoo Serious hosting MTV specials.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that happened for what, 10 minutes?
Well, in our in pop culture lingo, it was enough to make him his money. I don't know what you're stepping on.
I'm sure if you go to Australia, Yahoo Serious is probably like, one of their top rung people.
Yeah, Paul Hogan, then Yahoo Serious.
No, Yahoo Serious first. I don't know about that.
Actually, realistically, there is actually a lot of Australian actors coming out of there. I mean, Mel Gibson, Chris Hemsworth is the new guy, Russell Crowe.
Have you seen
Nicole Kidman, obviously, AC/DC.
Bruce Spence.
Yeah,
Who?
Bruce Spence. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. You know what's funny about that? I've seen Finding Nemo probably 40 times this week.
Uh-huh.
And Bruce Spence is one of the sharks. And
What's
I'm just...
Nice.
What's funny about that?
It's just that I know who he is. It's just...
Okay, I'd say unusual. I don't know if it's funny. I mean,
The funny part is I've seen Finding Nemo 40 times this week. And I'm not really exaggerating on the number.
That's not
sad?
funny. That's just
Yeah,
sad.
it is
sad.
fucking sad. I've come to the conclusion that I'm allowing my son certain films to ruin for me. Like, you can't have Willy Wonka. I can't watch Willy Wonka 20 times in a week because it'll destroy it.
This isn't about your son, sir. This is
No,
about
I know.
BMX
Well, it
bikes.
does have to do with cinema.
Nothing will ever destroy Willy Wonka.
Try watching it 20 times in a week.
I have.
Who hasn't?
And I don't have a kid.
Dude.
I just have this fear that he's gonna want to watch certain films over and over and over, and it's just gonna ruin it for
Very
him.
well. I do too.
Really?
Yeah.
I can watch RAD over and over and over, and it hasn't been ruined for me yet.
I can't believe that. I can't see how you'd pick RAD over BMX Bandits. It's bizarre.
Well, it has to do with the timing involved. Like, BMX Bandits was a little young. I got a little bit older, and who can beat the soundtrack with such greats as John Farnham.
Although
And,
I will say, are you talking about BMX Bandits, or are you talking about the
RAD.
soundtrack? RAD. Okay. The only song in that film that I truly like is that
Real
song
Life.
"Send Me an Angel."
Real Life.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that fucking song.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It's like the ultimate 80s soundtrack there, like from the opening Breaking the Ice song.
Well,
All
I mean, a lot of
through the-
synthesizers and pretty much the rest of the soundtrack, except
It's
for
John
that Real
Farnham.
Life song. That was a real 80s band doing, having a real 80s video, which, by the way, are from Australia, which fucking
so is-
ties in the two films, just even
So
on
is
the
John
soundtrack.
Farnham.
Right.
John Farnham is huge in Australia. Huge. He's on like their version of American Idol or something like that.
Oh,
It's
no
called
shit.
Australian. Never mind.
Yeah.
I mean, no, but what I'm saying is it's the ultimate 80s soundtrack because it's all like light rock ballads all the way through.
Wow. Yeah.
Every song has a montage for it as well. There's like 5 montages through the film. It's almost up there with Vanilla Ice, Cool as Ice, as far as montages per minute.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
But what?
I'll give you that BMX Bandits is probably the better made film.
Let's talk
Better
Rad.
plot structure, better dialogue. But Rad, for some reason, has that, my childhood 80s feel to it. I remember watching that when I was, maybe 11 years old. And BMX Bandits was always a film that I didn't see that till later in life. I didn't see that until I was in my teens. Rad, I actually saw, grew up with it, knew the film. So maybe it's a sentimental value. I don't know.
I saw both as a kid, but the one thing that got me is in my mind, I kept saying to myself, I know BMX Bandits because I remember that scene where the kid's riding on top of the log stack. And then I had to watch them both for this. I was like, oh, wait, that was Rad. I don't remember ever watching Rad, but I remember that scene, and I always attributed it to BMX.
No.
That's weird.
Rad has the star power.
What?
Behind.
Yeah, it's got a lot of big names in it. It's ridiculous how many people are in Rad.
Yeah. Ray Walston, Talia Shire.
Right. Well, is that the star power for
Jack
that?
Weston, Talia Shire. What? She was bored doing Rocky films. I mean, it's like, come on, you're a fucking Coppola for Christ's sakes. My fucking lord, what are you doing?
Well, are Jack Weston and Ray Walston really like the star power you need for that time period? It just seems a bit.
It's not. No, we're not saying that. They tried to make this film with all these big name actors. We're saying we're surprised at how many notable, recognizable actors are in the movie.
Sure.
Even the love interest. I mean, she was in the.
Now, to be fair,
Family House, Full House for years.
Yeah, Full House.
And
she's a wonderful example.
And
of
the main
power.
villain, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. I mean,
Olympic
he's a famous
gold
gymnast.
medalist.
Yeah,
Olympic gold medalist. Come on,
And don't forget Sergeant Smith.
Yeah.
Sergeant Smith.
HB.
Why is every villain from the '80s blonde hair and blue eyes? I mean, is that really like Hitler's, vision? I mean, do they always they always go blonde hair, blue eyes for these '80s villains, and most of the time they're young, teen or early,
Right,
early
and then
20s.
And then the poor underdog is always like that swarthy kind of like semi-Italian where it's not enough to be annoying.
Right. Jesus Christ.
Semi-ethnic.
Exactly, semi-ethnic. They're white, but they got just a tint of flavor to them, so they're not really
Oh, why would you do that?
just a tint of olive and like the dark hair, the European hair.
Okay.
Yeah, well, they were in like.
All right. Anyway,
that was more of a I don't know, where were they, in Dubuque or something like that in Rad? I don't even remember.
It was Nowhereville,
I love that part where
they're driving up.
Crew and the girl, they're riding the bikes and they stop and they're in front of this flat, ugly valley with just like low houses and barely like a thin sliver of mountains in the back, and it's just depressing and squalid, and it's just wow, it's beautiful out here.
It's so beautiful.
Like,
I know. I thought the same exact thing. I'm like, it looks practically like a fucking wasteland.
Did you scout the area before you wrote the scene? Did you? Oh God, yeah.
Well, how about when the fucking punks, the twins and the blonde hair, blue eyed guy come in and they're like, oh man, look at this place. I'm surprised these roads are even paved.
All I can imagine when she said it's so beautiful around here, like behind the cameraman, there's like waterfalls coming down the valley, and swallows formation. Yeah,
and then they start riding their bike and it pans over. I'm like, what the fuck?
You had to pan over so they could get to that makeshift like Gilligan's Island water slide they find in the middle.
Well, I
of
was
the
just
pond.
going to bring up the fucking 12-foot water slide that they have to go in super slow-mo so it doesn't take 1.5 seconds to get to the bottom.
Montage number 3.
Basically, what they didn't see is over the hill, the nuclear power plant that's spilling waste into the sluiceway as they slide down.
And they're doing it fully clothed, sliding down this half pipe, and I'm like, who the fuck does that?
And They cut out the 2 hours they had to wait because they can't really slide down that pipe until like half the town flushes simultaneously.
It's amazing.
At least BMX Bandits had like nice scenery. And now let's be fair, BMX Bandits might have star power if you're in Australia. It's an Australian film.
Yes.
So let's give it a... Now, and I got to say one thing, because you're knocking the two bumbling crooks in that. I have to give them credit, because I was, at one point, I was like, okay, the typical bumbling criminals. When they first approached Nicole Kidman and said, okay, let's pretend we're cops and try to trick her. And it doesn't work. And so then after that happens, it doesn't work. But they keep doing the cop thing, like they get into it. So when they're chasing him through town and they're driving through the mall, they keep stopping people. It's like, out of the way, police business. It's like, like they just wouldn't drop it. It's like they're still playing cop. I thought that was fun. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed where they're just like yelling at people.
I'm just itching to kill. Oh no, I'm just aching to kill somebody. Dude, they're fucking 15. What's wrong with you?
I've seen that blonde guy before, that blonde creepy dude. I've seen him somewhere. I don't know where. I know. Might be in Mad Max or something like that, actually. One of those.
That's what I'm saying. If you watch a lot of these Australian films, I thought I recognized quite a few faces in there as well.
What's his name? David Argue, I believe his name is.
Argue? Yeah.
David Argue.
Whitey.
His name was Whitey. Yeah.
And then Mustache. I recognize Mustache, John Lay.
He looks.
Oh, he was in Gallipoli, which is a big movie. Or was
actually, they were both in Gallipoli.
Yeah.
But John Lay, he for a split.
Yeah. Chris had it. John Lay was Mad Max.
But for a split second,
what was his name in the movie?
Charlie.
Charlie. For a split second, I thought he was in Dead Alive. He played the son. For a split second, just because his accent sounded a little bit more New Zealand.
And David Argues in Razorback.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. And the Return of Captain Invincible. I knew I recognized him. He's the Italian salesman in Return of Captain Invincible.
And No Escape with Ray Liotta.
I've never seen that. I keep avoiding seeing that.
Dude, please continue to keep avoiding it. Shrimp on the Barbie. He was on Shrimp on the Barbie. Didn't you review that?
We did.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, he played Kevin. Which is, for whatever reason, a very popular Australian name. I don't know why Kevin is so popular. I guess it's the equivalent of Michael in America. I don't know.
I like Kevin. Yeah.
Kevin's all right, I guess.
Everybody, and has everybody else seen The Return of Captain Invincible?
No.
Dude,
David
Argue was in that?
Yeah, he plays an Italian salesman. Well, it's a musical. You have Christopher Lee and Alan Arkin. They play a washed-up alcoholic superhero, and then Christopher Lee is like the bad guy. Alan Arkin sings country western songs in it. It's awesome. It's a musical. It's like the best worst movie ever. I have a copy.
I bet you do.
I'll line it up with you guys. But anyway,
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Look, BMX Bandits. Yeah, it clearly had a bigger budget.
Mm-hmm.
It had better scenery. It had, I don't know. I guess maybe it was the Australian thing that threw me that I won't return.
Yeah, that could be it too. And again, the dialogue. I thought it took time with the characters, and they were humorous, and there was a lot of back and forth, and so it entertained a bit more. Where RAD had to fill up all the empty space with these. Then again, BMX Bandits filled up a lot of empty space as well, but it filled it all up in one big half-hour chunk of a race.
Yeah.
Whereas RAD spread out the montages.
See, but RAD was all about the action, and I credit that to Hal Needham, the director.
But it had less action.
I don't think so.
No, it had a lot more. It had a lot more like montages, like you said.
It had
a lot more stunt work, a lot more practicing. A lot
boring
more
stunt.
Like the airwalk that he does. He tries that like 3 times, finally gets it. I mean, stuff like that.
The loop-de-loop.
Airwalk.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Whatever it's called.
It's called an airwalk.
He went in a circle. He was not walking. Why would you call it an airwalk?
That's what it's fucking called. I don't know.
It's a stupid name. But I mean,
I know. I made it up on the spot. You like it?
There's practical stunts in BMX Bandits. You know, there's like 15 minutes of them hopping on the wheels and shit.
It's because he probably didn't get any real... there was real BMX stunt people, you know, people that actually do BMX stunts and ride for a living in RAD. Whereas in BMX Bandits...
that was the point.
Right, that's why you don't have to pay for stunt.
Whereas in
stunt
BMX
riders, Bandits,
they got everyday kids that knew a couple of tricks.
Right, because then you can, if you hire to stunt people to act in the film, you don't have to pay for actors.
Exactly.
Or you don't have to pay for stunt people. You know, you're cutting the budget there.
Well, they needed to. How else are they going to pay Jack Weston?
Why is Jack Weston in there? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Jack Weston.
This is a low point in his career. He did Ishtar the same year or the following year.
Jack Weston's had a lot of low points. Let's be honest.
Was he ever in a high point?
Yeah, he's done some really good films too. Now, Short Circuit 2 was probably his low point because that's like his last film.
I like Short Circuit 2.
I always like Short Circuit 2 as well.
I like
Michael McKean.
I'm a big Fisher Stevens fan.
I liked it. Doesn't make it a good movie. I liked it, but that.
Yeah, we should review My Science Project at some point.
Oh, that's awesome.
I haven't seen that for a long time, and I remember really enjoying it. So I would like to revisit that.
I wanted Fisher Stevens' car in that movie.
Oh, yeah, the fucking middle finger?
Yes.
Come on, just that alone was cool enough.
Speaking of middle fingers,
yeah,
Ray Walston gives the middle finger to Jack Weston.
Yes, he does.
For everyone listening, Ray Walston is my Uncle Martian, or my
favorite Martian.
My favorite Martian. He was the uncle. My favorite Martian, or he was. But
that
Pappy
wasn't the name.
Popeye movie. I know. I'm just saying. That's why
my favorite uncle who is a Martian. Was that the name?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Uncle Martin.
Yeah, but no one else does.
Thank you, Uncle Martin. That's what I meant to say. Uncle Martin.
But no one else understands what you're saying.
They do because you clarify.
Bill Bixby.
Bill Bixby.
Huh? Oh, he was in it too. Yeah, he was right. Yeah, but Ray Walston gives him the finger. I was like, that's a perfect moment right there.
On his Mongoose bike.
On his Mongoose bike. Never a
this
more
world
awkward...
would be better without children.
The curmudgeon.
Which is a reprise of a song from the Popeye movie.
Yeah,
Kids, who needs them? Yeah. Near the end,
when
they're
only done 5 years earlier. That's my favorite film by him, by the way. Pappy.
Oh, come on. He's been so much stuff going so back. It's like hard to.
But I'm such a huge Popeye fan. I don't think I have another favorite film by him. I like other films that he's done, but I don't know.
No, Popeye was probably my greatest Ray Walston experience.
Love Popeye.
I would say
we should review Popeye too, but that's just going to be, how much we love it fest. It's going to be a 22-minute episode.
That's the problem reviewing stuff you like. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to say. Oh, I liked it. Okay, what'd you like about it? Well, I like this, and then that's it. You're done.
It's more fun, trashing,
shitting on stuff, of course.
Yeah. I mean, really, the last good film that Jack Weston was in, if you don't count Dirty Dancing, which I don't, maybe The Four Seasons, because that was like up for an Oscar. Some Oscars, I think.
High Road to China.
Maybe. I've never seen Gator, so I'm not sure.
Gator. That just sounds terrible.
He was in a bunch of those. He was in Fuzz as well, which was the other
Fuzz.
Fuzz. Starring
not Super Fuzz. Not Super Fuzz.
No, not Super Fuzz. Fuzz, based on an Ed McBain novel, the crime procedural, and it has Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds is in it, just like Gator. So I say he's been in a bunch of Burt Reynolds films too.
See, I'm telling you, it's Hal Needham. That's the connection right there. They must have been friends.
Yeah, I buy that definitely.
Because Hal Needham did Smokey and the Bandit, Cannonball Run, Stroker Ace, Hooper. They're all Burt Reynolds movies.
He owed him a favor.
Hooper. Back when driving drunk was like fun and humorous.
It probably knew Jack Weston's brother, who was the major porn director, producer.
Nice.
We did when we did Ishtar. I did a ton of homework on Jack Weston, and it came out that his brother was some huge porno producer and director in the 70s and 80s. And I was, naming like all of the movies that he's done, and there were some really famous movies in there.
The golden age of porn.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of interesting that his brother was some big, major
It's
porno
not Silver
star.
Age? Is it Golden Age or Silver Age?
Golden Age of cinema.
I'd say, I don't know. That's when they still used like film, right? Not VHS.
70s when they were actually making movies, yeah. And then
Right,
when the
with
80s
plot
hit, 80s,
scenes.
yeah, 80s became all videotape, and the production value cranked down drastically. You had to have some money to make a porno in the 70s. Once the 80s hit and videotape come into play, you could do it on with no budget and just pay the actors and cocaine in your set.
Right. Yeah. His brother Anthony Spinelli was his moniker for porn. His real name is Samuel Weinstein, and obviously his real name is Jack Weinstein.
Yeah.
Making films like Gangbang Bitches 13
Nice.
and Pump
Okay,
House
I have that.
Slut.
All right, I find it odd that every time we talk about kids' movies with bikes, we end up talking about pornography. Let's dial it back a bit.
What are you talking
Okay.
about? You're the only one that made that connection.
What?
We're talking about Jack Weston, then we just naturally went into his brother doing porn, and now I'm reading porn titles, like The
naturally
Last
just-
Condom, and,
We just naturally went into the pornography.
Portrait of a Nymph. No One to Love. That one had a real plot, I guarantee it, with a name like that.
Anyway, all right, I have to point out, watching these films now, we're in the year 2000 and something, and you're watching these films from the mid.
Did you just say we're in
mid-
2000 something?
Yes, I did. And am I incorrect? No. So moving on. And we're watching these BMX movies that came out at the height of the BMX craze, which was from 1983 to 1986. This is the beginning and the end right here.
Just say 80s.
And- What?
Just say 80s. BMX craze was a little earlier than 83, and it was a little later than 86. Just say 80s. Is this thing on?
I'm just waiting for you to finish.
Continue.
Thank you.
Don't make me mute your shit, and then Chris and I will
Watch-
do the rest of the show.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
In the 30 years between these films, 20 to 30 years between these films, you were watching it now. That opening scene, the first thing that catches me is 3 BMX kids riding their BMX bikes down these stairs, these concrete stairs, and not one of them grinds on the railing. There's absolutely no grinding anywhere in the 80s.
Some more skateboard
That's because it didn't exist. Yes, grinding
Exactly.
doesn't exist.
So you're watching it now, it's what's so, they're not even grinding on anything. The most they do is they just jump things and ride on things. Watching it now, it's kind of unimpressive what was considered stunt work back then, because all they're really doing is just riding their bikes and occasionally hopping on them.
Yeah, doing
That's all I'm
wheelies and
just
shit.
bringing up. In hindsight, watching them now, you go back there, it's wow, what we considered cool back then is really kind of lame, considering what we do
Most
now.
things that we consider cool are considered kind of lame now. That goes for almost anything. That goes
look
for
at HELLTRACK
maybe something I
itself.
did last week.
I guarantee you something you did last week is lame. Yes,
I guarantee you something you did earlier today is now lame.
I'm doing it right now.
You're doing it right now.
If you're not careful, I'll take a picture of it.
Whoa.
Now what? No, I'm just pointing out that, again, these films really don't withstand the test of time. Just as far as the BMX, it's like watching Hacker now, or
You mean hackers?
Shut up, Hackers now, or War Games.
War games.
I
That's
love
one
war
of my pet peeves with films. I may still enjoy the film. A lot of times they don't hold up. Films that don't show age, that go out of their way to not show age, trying to make a movie that doesn't really show a lot of modern technology, or doesn't go out of their way to show even vehicles and maybe a lot of maybe the type of clothing that they wear. A film that can do that to not show its age is almost timeless. There's very few films that can do that, where it was made at one point, where you watch it now and you don't get the sense that, wow, that this movie looks like it was made 30, 40 years ago because of the surroundings in it. It's very rare that you see a film accomplish that.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris. No, go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to say the only movies that really do that are movies that like are specific to the time, like The Godfather. Like you watch The Godfather and you see all the old stuff, and
40,
you're like, okay, but that's 30s, when it's
40s mafia. Yeah, exactly.
That's when it's. But if you take movies like I would go with RAD over BMX Bandits in that respect, because RAD has the bikes haven't really changed all that much, so I can get into it more. I can stay into it, whereas BMX Bandits was all like, I don't know, the clothing, the
one character was practically wearing fucking Daisy Dukes when he's walking across the street in one scene. I'm like, oh, what are you wearing? He's wearing these super tight red shorts.
Oh, PJ? Yeah, he was wearing the short shorts. Yeah.
The only part, well, you gotta wait, let me finish. The only part of RAD that takes me out of that zone is the dance. I like the music. But not to mention the terrible filming where you see Lori Loughlin's stunt double numerous times.
Oh, constantly.
In that scene. But the twins, Rex and Rod, with their futuristic Buck Rogers tuxedos outfits, or whatever they were wearing.
And the girl in the skin tight leotard, like zebra stripes or whatever that was. It's like tiger.
Yeah.
You beat me to it. I was going to bring that up. So what about this, Chris?
That reminded me of the outfit that Rusty walks out of in Italy in the National Lampoon's European Vacation scene where they go spend money. It reminded me a lot of that outfit.
With less style and class.
Yeah, minus the beret,
Minus the...
those two 80s girls were with all the fashions where they go into the clothing store and make fun of the plain clothing. And that's like an 80s. That's like enough 80s like to poke you in the eye with.
Yes.
But I would go a bit further than what you're saying, and I don't think it's technology, like outdated technology per se. Like if you watch an old film where they're using rotary phones and they have like the big computers with the spinning wheels behind them, it doesn't really take you out of it. I think it's when they make it like an integral part of the movie or a hype on it, like with war games where the technology is like a focus of your attention, or in these, or in these dated films where the stunts are the focus of the attention, because then you're automatically drawing attention to something that's is going to be out of date within a decade.
Well, just the fact that just in war games alone, he uses a payphone at one point. There aren't any payphones anymore.
There are some payphones here
There's
and there.
so few payphones. But, I mean, just little things like that. But my point being is, because there's so few payphones, when you watch the film, it goes, wow, when was the last time you really saw a payphone? Or there's so few payphones. Just little things like that. And I know what you mean by that, but if they use a rotary phone, I'm just saying even little things like that. A film, not very many movies go out of their way to make themselves timeless. That's all.
No.
Well, they don't have to, as long as it's as long as like it flows with the film. I mean, if you're watching,
if I was to make a film, that would be my number one priority. Would be to use as little technology as possible. Or if I were to use it, to try and think of it in a way, it's like, will this look dated, 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now?
There's a difference.
You know what I mean?
But there's a difference between like dated as in it's not around anymore, and dated as in like, oh Jesus, what the fuck were we thinking back then? That's the difference we're talking about. There's a difference between, oh gee, he's at a payphone, and oh look, I'm using the modern technology of a modem. Let me put my receiver on this machine and let it talk for half an hour. There's a difference. There's a focus. There's a difference between, oh look, they're riding BMX bikes back in that movie in the old days, and then oh look, the big stunt is that he's hopping on the back wheel and that there's handbrakes. There's because back then that was new and cool, but now it's like, okay, yeah, whatever. So that's all I'm getting at.
Okay.
And if I was going to do a movie, I'd focus more on the screenplay first, but
Well, hey, you can't have everything.
I don't know. I got it. Like I said, you're still not going to convince me. RAD is still better than BMX Bandits.
I think it's a better production of BMX Bandits.
Well, think of it this way.
Yeah.
Was BMX Bandits released theatrically in the U.S.?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Whereas RAD was a major release in the United States. It was their... it was 3 years after RAD, or after BMX Bandits, but BMX was still, alive and well. So when they tried to release it, in 1986, BMX was still huge here in this country.
I'm saying no, it did not have an American release date.
Oh, BMX Bandits.
Correct.
Yes. I mean, it went... you know what's funny? Also known as Shortwave, the U.S. bootleg. That was the U.S. bootleg title. It was called Shortwave. Yeah, I always remembered this film, BMX Bandits. I always remember this film being hard to get. And one of those movies where if you could get a bootleg of it, was like, wow, look what I got.
It was for a while. Just like RAD is now very hard to get.
Yeah, they made a laser
Bandits.
disc of RAD. They made a laser disc of RAD. That was the last time it was produced, like as a,
Well, what's interesting is RAD, it's been on cable. It's been on a channel called NHD, and they actually restored RAD to a high definition copy.
Yeah.
Oh,
so it actually is in high def. And it's funny when they do things like that. Like, for instance, this RAD was restored and shown in high definition on a channel called NHD. The Billie Jean, the Legend of Billie Jean, also remastered and shown in high def on Universal HD. Neither film has been released on Blu-ray, although the work's already been done to high definition.
Most of the
films,
most of the bootlegs that you can buy online of RAD are from that NHD channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
and what were you saying
I know.
about,
I remember a couple years ago I bought a bootleg of RAD actually from some website.
Now, for our people listening, if you go to our Facebook page, Moviesucktastic on Facebook, I posted both YouTube videos. They have the full film for each one on YouTube.
And you can watch them.
Yeah, so they're both there for you if you want to watch.
And then I also got to tell you today, I also watched The Invisible Kid, which was also...
Oh, God.
Which was also...
I'm laughing.
The 80s, yeah. I watched it because I found it on that, from a link from that what you sent earlier.
Wow.
So,
fucking Invisible Kid.
Because that was one of my first experiences with boobs on screen.
We brought that up on the show, or at least I did, saying that the 80s, or just even, the 80s and earlier, which just was a different time as far as what they could get away with nudity and swearing. I mean, that was a PG-rated film, and there's full frontal.
Oh,
and
yeah.
not even like split-second full frontal, like... he's walking through the woman's locker room, and they're all naked, full frontal.
Yep,
and it's
they're
like
not
no big deal.
Either.
Yeah, exactly. It's like no big deal. And if I'm not mistaken, did you see Bush Pan Down?
No,
I didn't like that movie.
No,
What,
The Invisible.
Nerds?
How could you not like Jay Underwood? Come on,
I meant Bush.
Jay Underwood. Bug. What's your name
Bug,
again? Roach. Fly.
By the way,
Bug.
speaking of nudity, no nudity in either film.
No.
But did you catch the one girl with the side boobage when they got autographs when the BMX guys were coming into town in RAD?
Oh, yeah.
The one girl, out of nowhere, this one girl's got like the side T-shirt where the sleeves are cut off all the way down to the waist, and there's like visible side boobage. Like, did anybody screen this before they put it on? Because everyone else has got like everything's up to the neck for everybody else, but this one girl's got half her boob hanging out.
The trailer that I played for BMX Bandits actually says that it's rated G, and RAD is rated PG.
Well, because it has
side boobage.
No, Ray Walston giving the finger. That's a PG right there.
I guess so.
You kidding me?
It's a gesture.
It's a foul gesture, sir.
Children don't know what that is yet.
I'm just telling you how the ratings board operates. Okay.
I understand.
I mean, come on. What's the worst they said in BMX Bandits? You're knee deep in the poo now.
Yeah, there was very little. It could have been Australian cursing that I don't know about. There could be, in there, but
Well, that's like British cursing, bloody. Oh, gee,
Yeah.
you can't say that on television. Bollocks, yeah.
Bloody hell.
RAD
had some normal swearing, and they said bullshit and shit, a couple of times in the movie.
That's a PG.
Yeah,
Well,
like the favorite scene when he finally perfects the backflip.
Oh, the airwalk?
Or the first time he screws it up. Yeah, the airwalk. I'm sorry.
What did she say? You
over-rotated.
He goes, no shit.
Yep. There you go. Right there.
There you go.
That's when he does that loop-de-loop thing.
Yeah,
yes,
airwalk.
the loop-de-loop thing.
It's the fucking airwalk.
Like in Blue Thunder. Right?
Sure.
Except he dies when he does that.
Just humor him.
I'm going to go watch Blue Thunder now. Damn it.
And Daniel Stern
and Roy Scheider. Ain't go wrong there.
No.
Jaffo. Oh, man.
All right. Are we done with both films, or do we got more to talk about them?
We haven't really talked too much about them. I mean
but there's really nothing that... I mean, both plots are fucking razor blade thin, okay?
Well, can we get a synopsis of the RAD as well? Because we kind of skimmed over RAD. We got the setup for...
Yeah,
you want me to do it?
No, let Chris do it. Chris has been doing good with it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. RAD is basically a small-town boy makes good plot. He's going nowhere and doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, and he happens to like, playing
to
on a
interrupt
bike.
you real quick, that whole plot line of him not taking his SAT so he can be in a fucking bike race is retarded. And you know what? His mother is fucking right. You're gonna ruin your life. You're gonna go ride on bicycles. And he's like, I could do that in 6 months, Ma. I heard that 10 minutes ago from somebody. It's like, what are you talking about, you moron? Take your SATs, get into a college, ride your little bike later.
Joey's snapping into father mode there. I'm going to back the kid on this. You attack life while you're young and do what you want to do.
Fuck that. Take your SATs, get into college, fucking go build a ramp in your backyard, you fucking loser.
But that's the thing, like SATs, what is it, one day and that's it for the rest of your life? Come on, you can take the SATs any day.
Yeah, like 6 months from now.
Statistically, kids that don't go to college right out of high school have a harder time getting the motivation to do it.
Hey, he won a Corvette and $100,000, man.
Well, you know what? This is yes. He was going to get the $10,000 anyway.
Right.
They actually told him that. He goes, you can't race because we don't want you as competition.
But winning the whole race, he gets the 100,000. Correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Now, I
fuck college.
What is it?
I mean, that was the whole thing. The message was, go after your dreams, and if you win, then it's great. But if you lose, guess what? You get to sit home all summer, thinking about what a loser you are, while your friends are in college getting, better education, and you might make it next year. The motivation of being out of
his friends. Did you see his friends? I don't think they're moving on to a better education.
Well, he had the opportunity and he fucked it up, but he made good. That's the difference.
That's the difference.
I don't think the message was very good. That it's like, I'll do it later. I'll ride my bicycle. I mean, they could have made it. They didn't have to have that subplot of his mom getting mad. That it's like they could have made it that he took his SATs in the morning and then fucking did the bike race later. Like in the early afternoon. Why did it have to be the exact same time? Like, come on,
dude. It's called conflict. You need conflict in the screenplay, Joey. This is screenwriting 101. Now,
but they couldn't have done it any other way, where the mother just opposes to him doing it.
I'm sure they could have done it where he has a
Your
monkey.
father's dead. That doesn't change anything.
What's with it? I just need to point out that now.
I love your Talia Shire accent, by the way.
Oh, you like that?
Yes, it's fantastic.
Should I bring up the music and do it?
Can I please just point out that the kid could not have afforded college anyway until he won the bike tournament? So there.
I mean, he lived in a double wide.
He could have taken out loans. I mean, come on.
And both films have instrumental, the cardboard cutout standard screenplay plot device in both BMX Bandits and in RAD. In RAD, you had the single mother, which is like in every 80s TV show, film, whatever. It's always a single mother. It has to be a single mother. The father has to be dead. Now, once you get into the 90s with TV shows, they start killing the mother off like a bat,
Hogan's Family.
Yeah, everything. They just kill the mother off. Everybody has to be. There can't be a mother anywhere in the 90s on. But in the 80s, it's kill the father. It's a single mother raising the kid. And then in BMX Bandits, of course, we got the fat kid.
Oh, I forgot about.
I like the scene where they're running through town and they knock his ice cream out. The one kid, he has two, knocks one out, steals one. He chases them. Kid. Yeah, but he chases them. And they added dialogue in later because as they're going up the ramp on the scaffolding, he goes, "What about my ice cream?
My ice cream."
It's like, I don't understand. I mean, it's funny.
It's hard to record sound while you're riding a bike up a ramp.
But it's funny, but it's like, this scene needs something. He's chasing them. The fat kid's chasing them. He needs something. How about, what about my ice cream?
Well, of course, because he's a fat kid. And, of course, he's the rich fat kid.
That's right out of Pee-wee's Big Adventure right there.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's fat people, bikes, and, money. Rich fat
You'll be sorry, Pee-wee Herman.
Now, see, that's what RAD was missing. RAD had all these athletic teenagers running around. They had the rich kid that mocked them, but they didn't have the fat kid that they could ridicule.
Yes.
And they even threw the rich kids in there.
Well, no, they had a fat guy in RAD.
Yeah,
Blob.
He wasn't even fat. He was.
No, I know, but they were doing it anyway.
It was his boss.
Looked like Harry Knowles.
He calls his boss the Blob. And then later he's like, dude, it's not worth getting fired for. He's not firing you for calling him names. He's not going to care if you kick shit out of one of his customers. He's my favorite character. He's like, oh, that's that kid that works for me. I hope he gets his ass kicked.
And then he steals the lady's popcorn.
Good for him. Yeah, well, fat people steal food all the time.
Yeah, I know I do.
Yeah. I don't pay for any food. I just always steal it.
That's. I don't even know I don't even know where to go from there. To be honest,
can't add anything to it. Just enjoy it.
I mean, the fat kid in BMX Bandits was filler, I think.
And he was younger than the other kids too.
It was just some comic relief a little bit.
Well, yeah, because fat people are
I mean, when the two bumbling idiots aren't the comic relief, the fat kid's comic relief.
Fat kids are like midgets. If they're in the film, you're gonna be laughing at them. Hey, you ever listened to the audio commentary for Goonies?
Yes.
No.
I love the part where in the beginning where they're all talking about it. It's like the full cast commentary, and the kid that played Chunk. He says, he had the foresight to realize that by mixing not only a fat kid but a fat kid in a Hawaiian shirt was like the height of comedy. He just puts it right out there. He was like,
"Isn't Chunk like the?" Oh no, I'm thinking of the other one. I'm thinking of the Stand By Me kid.
Oh yeah,
Corey Feldman.
No.
You're talking Jerry O'Connell.
Yeah.
Is it Jerry O'Connell?
Yeah.
But he doesn't badmouth the movie or anything, but he just kind of throws it in there. It's like, yeah. So he put me in there as the fat kid in the Hawaiian shirt, and I have to live with that now. I like that.
Well, do you think that
do the truffle shuffle
from BMX Bandits is thinking to this day, if I never made that damnable movie, I would just be somebody?
Because he didn't become an icon like the Goonies is like people still reference it now. It's a famous film. BMX Bandits, like no one remembers the fat kid until you watch it.
I don't know. I think who can divine the nature of Australia?
I can.
I mean, I don't know. They're pretty.
Have you ever seen Mr. Accident?
No.
Yahoo Serious film, Mr. Accident. It is one of the most bizarre films you'll ever see. And when it ends, you're really sure if there was any point in watching it in the first place. It's a great Yahoo Serious.
I have to bring up Yahoo Serious now.
Okay.
Yahoo Serious. Here we go.
I just brought up.
He's made a lot of movies. Yahoo Serious.
His real name is Greg Peed. Born in Hunter Valley in New South Wales, Australia.
I would change my name to Yahoo as well if that was my name.
He's only directed 3 films, and that's Young Einstein, Reckless Kelly, and Mr. Accident.
I can't find it anywhere. It's like not available.
Any of them?
Reckless Kelly.
Oh, you can't find Reckless Kelly?
Can't find that anywhere.
Yeah, I might have to do a torrent on that.
Yeah, I'm not going that far, but I can't. I mean, it's not available. It's not out there. You know what I'm saying? It's like RAD. It's hard to find unless YouTube. And the other one's Mr. Accident, right?
Well, he's only been in 3 movies, and it's those 3 films: Young Einstein, Reckless Kelly, and Mr. Accident. He hasn't done anything else,
No.
according to IMDb.
He's an independent conceptual artist. One of Australia's most successful independent conceptual artists.
I was just about to say that.
Were you?
And like, well, you know how before we were talking about in RAD the when I was making fun of John Farnham. If you look him up, like I said, he's one of the most famous music stars in Australia. See, but that's, you know what I mean? It's Australia. That's weird.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't really translate in some ways.
I mean, you can always say Mel Gibson. Yeah. Mel Gibson was born in New York. So, yeah, you know, I don't count him.
Mel Gibson was born in New York?
Yes.
Raised in Australia?
First 7 years, I believe, he lived in New York.
Huh.
And then he went to Australia.
Interesting.
Oh my God!
Oh my
What?
God.
I'm just taking a look at Hal Needham's record, the director of RAD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Chris brought that up before.
I know, but I'm just looking back while we're talking, and the one thing that slapped me in the face, you mentioned Smokey and the Bandit and Hooper, but after those two, he made The Villain.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And you're missing my personal favorite, Megaforce.
Megaforce.
Now, if you're a fan of any of 80s movies, you've seen Megaforce.
Wait a minute, hold on.
With Barry Bostwick and Persis Khambatta from Star Trek.
Holy shit! I remember this. He's wearing this. He's wearing that gold leotard thing.
He looks like he's ready for a workout.
Oh, that's all I remember about that. What was that about?
Megaforce was a secret government.
I remember this movie. Holy fuck.
Army, basically.
Story
to
about a
take on
rapid
terrorists.
deployment defense unit that is called into action whenever freedom is threatened.
Let Chris finish. Hang on, I'm listening to Chris.
Well, no, they were they were a secret government force that was made to defend against terrorism. And there you go. And they had these dune buggies that were like mega tanks or mega.
Oh shit! I remember.
Yeah, and then they had the motorcycle. Remember the motorcycle that had like.
I remember the dune buggies, and they had lasers.
Yes.
And I remember
Yes.
the skin tight gold costumes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember motorcycle. What was the shit! I remember this.
The motorcycle, it was just like basically like a motocross bike, but it had like missiles on it, and they had this gray and like lightning bolt paint scheme that at night turned black, and in the sun, like it was like camouflage. It was like
holy shit! It's available. I found it. I'm getting it. We're reviewing this next episode. I'm sorry. Okay.
We
have to.
Well, here's some interesting numbers. In 1982, the film was made. It came out in June 27, 1982. Now, this is 1982. It cost $20 million in 1982, which is a lot of fucking money. A lot of fucking money for a film in the 80s. I think E.T. only cost 25 or 30.
Holy shit.
So, I mean, this is, and it made 5.6 million. Its opening weekend, and this is what's hilarious about that. It made 5.6. Its opening weekend was 2.3, almost 50% of its whole gross.
it had an Atari game made. They made an Atari game for this.
Fuck,
I don't recall that.
I remember that.
Chris, I got to tell you, this is creepy because I have an awesome memory for movies and stuff. And what you have done, Chris, you dragged out of my subconscious this film, literally up until this point. I mean, I never would have mentioned this film ever. In the minute you start mentioning it, and the minute I see this gold costume, you start mentioning it, the minute you said dune buggies, it's like explosions in it's like an epiphany. It's like, holy shit, I watched this film so many times as a kid and I don't even remember it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know how I remembered it the first time I remembered it, and it's on IMDb. They have it. They remark upon it on IMDb trivia. The two South Park dudes love that movie.
Trey Parker.
And as a matter of fact, in that movie, World Police, in that
Matt Stone.
Yeah. What was the movie they made? The World Police.
Team America
References Megaforce multiple times.
Really? I didn't even.
It's got Michael Beck in it, Scott, who was the lead actor in Xanadu.
Oh,
Michael Beck! Oh, we're so reviewing this.
And Barry Bostwick had a headband on that permed haircut that he had. Oh, it's fantastic.
See, it's like it all came to me. So you said it, and dude, I remember the Annihilators that the Eliminators or the Annihilators. Which one was it, Chris?
Eliminators.
That was I remember the Eliminators. I remember the Hawk movie that had the sword with the hand that held the stone.
That was, oh my God, with Jack Palance as the bad guy.
I think so.
Yes, I mean, that was creepy. That was like a movie I made in my basement.
Yeah, I remember all these films. I remember Space Mutiny with the girls that danced around the globes with electricity and that crazy shit.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember all of these.
Yeah.
And
what about
fucking Space Hunter? I mean, come on.
Space Hunter Beyond the Forbidden Zone. But what I'm saying is, I remember all of these from my
of Jared Sin. Beyond the what was that? Beyond the
Forbidden Zone.
Was it the?
No, that's Space Hunter Beyond the Forbidden Zone. Jared Zinn, I know what you're talking about though. I have a copy of that somewhere. But what I'm saying is, I remember all these things. But Megaforce, which I must have watched countless times, I did not remember until you mentioned Dune Buggies. I would have sat here like I have no idea what this film is, and when you say Dune Buggies, like holy shit, I can't tell you how just amazed I am.
I remember bits and pieces of that film, and I'm sure when I watch it, it'll all come rushing back.
I remember because the woman, I had a thing for the woman.
Oh,
it's the bald one from Star Trek, Persis Kambata.
Kambata, yeah. Uh-huh.
Who was murdered by Thugi cultists. That's what the rumor was.
Real life?
Yeah, that was the rumor. I don't know if it was true or not.
Well, didn't she write a book?
Yeah, it says here. Well, it says here, date of death, August 18th, 1998, in Bombay, India, and it says a heart attack. But yeah, hey, I mean,
hey, well, they're good at faking that kind of stuff. Yeah,
maybe they're all doctors, aren't they?
Wow, she had a great run. She Megaforce Warriors of the Lost World with the paper chase guy.
Nice.
That's where again motorcycle and the super tank. Or super mega truck. I think it was mega truck.
Mega truck.
Something like that. It was a big truck, and the motorcycle sacrificed itself to kill the mega truck. And yeah, she was in all of those. My Beautiful Laundrette, whatever. That's like a famous film.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
All right.
Lewis.
The Willoughby Conspiracy. Really?
Do you have your IMDb up, Scott, to rate the films on IMDb?
Yeah, let me just backtrack here. I was on my Hal Needham kick. Holy shit, Megaforce is up, yo.
That and Stroker Ace. Come on.
Stroker. You know what? Stroker Ace was the first one I ever saw where I liked the trailer, and then afterwards, like, wow, they can really make trailers look good.
Stroker Ace is born to race.
I was when you were talking about Megaforce, I had to look at the taglines, and they got the taglines. When the Force was with them, no one stood a chance. There has never been a superhero like Ace Hunter.
See, what you're saying is, okay, look, all those movies, I mean, okay, Smokey and the Bandit you can kind of take out of that because Burt Reynolds. But look at all those other movies. They all fit into this high action, zero story.
Right.
And that's what RAD was. RAD was like a young person's primer to these action movies.
It was like Karate Kid Light. Yeah, it was Karate Kid Light.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
I mean,
sure.
I think it was what's his name? Hal Needham. Actually, one time someone was making fun of him, and because he was destroyed by critics. Every movie he made was always destroyed by them. But I think he did a it was something like he took out an ad or something like that, and in the ad it posted all his negative reviews, but then there was a picture with a wheelbarrow full of money. And I think that's perfect, and it fits perfectly for like the movie. I mean, come on, it's not winning any awards for drama, but it fills its need.
It's a job, yeah. And as the tagline to Megaforce says, deeds, not words.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so we got BMX Bandits and RAD to do the official MST rating.
Okay.
Now for BMX Bandits is currently at a solid 5.0.
Right.
What do we have votes for on that?
Wow.
I would like to say 6 because I like the dialogue.
I wouldn't say it's that high,
But
I
it's
wouldn't.
fun.
But I wouldn't say it's less than a 5. I mean, I wish we could do the point. I would give it a 5. I'd give it a 5.5. But I just don't think it's. I just don't think it's a 6.
But it's got the production value. It's fun. It's got mad skills.
I don't see the skills. I'm sorry. Like watching the movie, they didn't really do anything.
In RAD, they're just doing like flips and racing around the track. In BMX Bandits, they're going down water slides. They're going over things. They're going through things.
You know what? I never felt any tension in BMX Bandits. Any of the stunts, I never felt that I couldn't do as a kid myself.
Oh,
Yes,
in RAD,
Whereas in RAD, I'm not doing an airwalk.
you're on the edge of your seat with RAD, right?
I was actually
Edge of my seat.
The opening of HELLTRACK is that like 30-foot straight down drop. I couldn't do that I couldn't do that when I was a kid.
No,
Could
all
you?
the shit they do in BMX Bandits, you could do as a kid.
Not successfully, but I could have done it.
I would have gotten down fast, but I wouldn't have gotten back up.
got up slow.
Yeah, exactly.
Not at all.
But yeah, no, it's
I
like
mean-
real stunt work in RAD and stunt work in BMX Bandits.
I'm starting at 5, and I personally bump it up 1 star for the production value and
The only reason I would give it a 6 is because of Nicole Kidman, because she was very cute in the movie.
Okay, all right. What about you, Chris?
I mean, I'm not interested in Nicole Kidman unless she's peeing like in Eyes Wide Shut. So I don't. I mean, I've seen Nicole Kidman. I've seen Nicole Kidman urinate on screen. So should I? I don't know. I think this. I don't know. I can't. I'd say maybe. I don't know. Nicole Kidman. Ugh, I don't know. 5.5. I'll raise it up a bit just because of nostalgia purposes and.
All right,
All right, so 6.
Yeah, I say 6. Chris says 5. You're the deciding vote, Joey?
We'll go 6.
Really? You're gonna weasel out on that?
No, I said I would go up to a 6 for Nicole Kidman.
All right, 6 it is. Vote is in.
Weasel. What are you saying, weasel?
I'm sorry.
You're
and
not,
RAD,
but that's okay.
RAD is already up to 6.6.
I can't believe that it's that high.
Me neither.
I mean,
So,
that's really close to a 7. You got a few hundred votes,
About
and
point-
it's in the 7 range, and I can't believe that.
it's a cult film. It's a cult.
It really is it really
so
is.
is BMX Bandits.
No, it's not.
I think
true.
I think RAD is more of a cult film. It's harder to attain. BMX Bandits has been released on Blu-ray.
Blu-ray?
RAD amongst the BMX crowd. What?
Blu-ray.
It's out on Blu-ray.
Why is BMX Bandits on Blu-ray?
I don't know. I didn't fucking produce it.
Why would you put it?
A couple of years ago in New York City, they did a RAD like retrospective where they redid the whole bicycle boogie dance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they had Drew Jones come out and talk about his experience with RAD. And I don't know, man. I think it's got more. It captured the imagination of the young people of the time.
which really says a lot about the imagination of the young people of the time.
Yes, it does.
Personally, if we start out at 5, if we start middle of the road, I would personally bump it up 1 just for Ray Walston's finger.
Yeah, Ray Walston giving the finger is.
I'd give it a 6 just for that. Does anybody think we should go higher than 6 on RAD?
No,
I
don't.
do. I would give it. I would actually venture to say I like where it is exactly where it is. 6.6, I believe.
Uh-huh.
You can't.
I would venture to say 7 because I can keep on watching it again and again.
But does that make it a good film?
Hmm.
I like Ernest Goes to Camp, but I'm not giving it a 10.
No, I wouldn't give it a 10.
Seven, I think, maybe. No.
You're right. Well, okay. Say 6. Say
For-
6, I would say.
I'm a little biased, but for me, once you get into 7, you get into good movie territory. You get into like stuff. It's like, okay, like this is a good movie. Anything below 7 is like, all right, whether you like it or not, it's not held up to that standard. You know, like 7 is, if it got nominated for an Oscar, it wouldn't be laughed out of. It wouldn't be a joke. It'd be like, oh well, I wouldn't pick that, but because there's a lot of 7s that get nominated for Oscars.
That is very true. I personally am fine with a 6 on RAD.
All right, so I'll put 6 on that as well. So RAD is also a 6. So Moviesucktastic wise, we've rated both 6, but I'm outvoted 2-1 on which one's the better film.
Yeah,
which I'm okay with.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'm
RAD
okay
is
with
the
that.
better movie. That's fine.
Fucking Megaforce! I can't believe that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, you starting a jet over there, Chris? What's going on? You okay?
What do you mean?
There's like all these weird sucking noises coming from your side.
Oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Keep in mind, I'm alone.
I think we should end the show on that.
Fine.
Right.
I guess we're done.
I think so. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Chris, for joining us as well. Episode 85 of Moviesucktastic, getting closer to the 100th episode. Still don't know what we're going to do, but it should be good. We're going to make it special, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Please download our podcast at iTunes. Give us reviews. Please go to our website, and you can download them there for free. That's Moviesucktastic.com. You can go to our blog, which is boothreviews.blogspot.com. That's right. You can also leave us email at themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. You can leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470. Anything? Anybody want to plug anything?
Megaforce.
Megaforce! That'll be next week's episode. Scott and I will be reviewing Megaforce. Maybe we'll get another guest in for next week's show. That maybe we might get Matt Farley, which would be fun. We'll ask him to join us. Anybody have any wisdom for before we go?
Yes. Words, not action. I meant no action, not. Sorry, action, not words. Never mind. Yeah, I'll shut up.
I'll say, eat your cereal with a fork and do your homework in the dark.
Very good advice. I don't think
That was
done that.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.